Hi guys, James at Rampant Lion Reviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to head down to Italy once again, and we're going to revisit a brewery who have featured on the channel a couple of times before. This will only be my second dedicated review to them though, and this is a style of beer that has really become a firm favourite of mine over the last kind of 2 years or so, since I first encountered Rodenbach and Duchesse de Bourgogne and things like that. So you should have a fair hint about what style of beer this one's going to be. For this review though, we are going to go to a little place called Soragna, and also I guess Roncole Verdi we could say as well, in Parma, which is about halfway between Bologna to the southeast and Milano to the northwest, and that of course means we're going to have a look at another beer from Birrificio Del Ducato, which literally translates into English as the brewery of the Duchy, Duchy as in the kind of old royal realm. So this particular beer is called La Luna Rossa. It comes in at 8% ABV, and this one is a Flanders red ale with cherries added to the brew. So we got this one here in Sweden as part of one of the tillfälligt sortiments, the temporary releases in Systembolaget, and I believe it was released at the same time as the handback that you saw me review from Handbryggeriet in Norway a couple of videos back, and that was another beautiful beer, our Flemish red ale, and apparently the first commercial sour in Norway, so do make sure you go and check out that review as well. But very nice to return to Birrificio Del Ducato after a little while. I always enjoy reviewing the Italian beers for you here on the channel, and as I've kind of told you numerous times, it does seem to be the case in Europe that the countries that are very good at winemaking tend to be very good when they try their hand at craft beer as well. At least Greece, Slovenia, Italy, France, Spain, Portugal, all of these countries seem to fit that rule, and no doubt there will be others that kind of fit into it as well that I've just not discovered yet. But yeah, very cool to review another Italian beer for you here on the channel. I love reviewing these. I wish I could review a few more different breweries and things like that, but I'm happy to take what I get up here in Sweden. So yeah, excited to return to Del Ducato, and I hope that you guys enjoy my take on this one as well. So yeah, let's see how we get on with this one then. As always with my reviews, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery before we taste the beer. If you want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other reviews that I've done from Birrificio Del Ducato before. No doubt you will see some more added to this in the fairly near future. There's all the usual social media down there as well. If you want to see more reviews, do please consider subscribing to the channel. The whole channel of course has a geography based tagging system, so you can go into the homepage and search for beer based on country, city, state, county, province, prefecture, whatever it is you're interested in. Do check out the playlists of beers from different countries. There is one there for all the Italian beers that I've reviewed for you. That's being added to whenever I get the opportunity, but not as regularly as I would like of course. And as always, please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review. It's always great to hear from you guys that are watching the videos, and the support that you show the channel is hugely appreciated. If you are watching from Italy, please do get in touch and let me know some good Italian web shops that send beers out to the rest of the EU. That would be awesome if I could get a hold of some different Italian beers, or if you would be willing to be my Italian beer mule, whereby I send you some money and you organise a box of beer for me. That would be awesome too. Get in touch with me through the channel Facebook page and Instagram and things like that. I'd love to review more Italian beers for you on the channel more regularly, as I said earlier. But yeah, let's look at the history of Birrificio Del Ducato then. On to my brewery notes. So Birrificio Del Ducato, as I've told you before, was founded back in 2007 in the small village of Roncole Verdi in Parma in Italy, which is the birthplace of the renowned Italian composer Giuseppe Verdi. So the brewery itself was founded by Giovanni Campari, who holds a degree in food science, and he is assisted on the commercial side of things by Manuel Piccoli, who has a background in logistics, and he takes care of the the administration side of the business, like I said. But initially they had to do a lot of work to get their building up to scratch, if you like, for their first brewery, and they also had to deal with the Italian bureaucracy to be legally allowed to produce beer as well, and this caused them a lot of headaches in the beginning, from what I understand. But since the company's foundation, it's grown its exports year on year. They've won many international beer competitions as well. The Verdi Imperial Stout that they had was actually the first Italian craft beer to win an international competition back in 2008, and then the following year they began their exports, and they've invested quite heavily in their barrel aging program over the years as well. They've gradually won more and more awards. They are a very, very decorated brewery, and they've expanded up and up ever since. But in 2012 they began work on a warehouse in Soragna, which is about 3 kilometres from Roncole, and this would become the next home of the brewery. The original brewery was gradually converted into the sour beer facility, and I believe it still remains as their sour beer facility, and they began brewing operations in this new facility in 2015, and this brewery is equipped with a 60 hectolitre brew kit and 5 massive big tanks. They've got a hell of a lot of fermentation capacity these days, and that again has been scaled up over the years since 2015. In 2016 though, Duvel Moortgaard from Belgium invested in the company, and they took a 35% share, and this was later expanded to a 70% stake in 2018, and that same year the brewery opened up the door to their shop, and that's still running, of course, and it remains run by the original founders, and they're producing around 9,000 hectolitres of beer per year. So still kind of run. That's the thing, Duvel, the breweries that they've taken over, they do seem to have kind of left them alone to operate independently. I believe Duvel also own Firestone Walker over in America, in California, if I remember rightly. So yeah, they do seem to allow these breweries pretty much to kind of run as they would have before, but they do help them with distribution, and I think the guys at Duvel also brew some of the beers from the various breweries that they now own, kind of at their own brewery as well, actually. But as of July 2020, when I'm reviewing this beer for you, these guys have produced in the region of 110 different beers. So yeah, one of the better known Italian craft breweries, I guess you could say. I mean, the ones that I think probably a lot of people would have heard of would be the likes of Brewfest, you know, Birrificio Italiano, Del Ducato, Birra Baladin. You know, there's those are the main ones that I think a lot of people would have heard of. But of course, there are numerous very, very small breweries throughout Italy, and I have noticed that sour beers tend to be very popular down there. I don't know if that's due to the wine culture or whatever, but yeah, the Italian sour beers do tend to be pretty damn good in my experience. So as I say, I'd love to review a few more of those for you on the channel. But Del Ducato are one of the better known Italian names to non-Italian craft beer drinkers, if you like. So yeah, that's all I can really tell you about Birrificio Del Ducato for the moment. If you want to learn more, of course, you can check out the brewery website. You can follow them on Facebook and Instagram to keep up to date with all the latest goings on, and of course you can check out the Rate Beer, Untappd and Beer Advocate pages to learn more about all the different beers that they've done. So yeah, let's get on to the actual tasting of this beer then. So one of the things obviously you'll notice about Birrificio Del Ducato is the shape of their bottles. This is very, very distinctive, of course. You can get these beers in 750s as well, if I remember correctly, or 700s, I forget exactly, but I have to say the artwork on this one is very, very nice. There you can see La Luna Rossa, the red moon, which is very nice, and there you can see it tells you Flemish Red Ale in there as well. But yeah, the artwork on this is very nice. There you can see Birrificio Del Ducato, the symbol of the brewery. As I said to you, this translates into English as the brewery of the duchy, if you like, as in the likes of Grand Duchies. I think Luxembourg is the only remaining Grand Duchy in Europe, if I remember rightly. Basically a kind of royal or regal realm, I guess you could say. But there you can see, there is the Birrificio Del Ducato bottle cap on this one, of course slightly bigger than a number of other bottle caps you'll come across, but this one is a 330ml bottle. I actually can't remember what I paid for this. I think maybe around 60 kroners or something like that, 55, 60 kroners, but you know, it's a sour beer, it's an import, you are going to pay a little bit more for it, and you know, it's not often you get to review an Italian Flanders style red ale, this one. But yeah, Flanders red ale with cherries added to the brew, coming in at 8% ABV from Soragna or Roncole in Parma in Italy, about halfway between Bologna and Milano. So yeah, without further ado, let's get this guy out and we'll get on with the tasting then. Very, very curious to see how this beer turns out. If I can get it open. That's the thing I hate about these Del Ducato beers, is the size of the caps. It doesn't work with these things. I need to get another bottle opener that's, you know, maybe just a wooden one with a pull thing on it. But yeah, let's get this guy out and we will get on with the taste, and then very, very curious to see what this beer has in store for us. Oh, and this one is quite a murky, hazy one, come to think of it, unless I've aggravated it by shaking it up, of course. But yeah, let's see how we get on with this one. I really hope that this one is as good as the hand back that I had from Handbryggerie the other day, because I was really seriously impressed with that one. But knowing this brewery, I think we are in for a little bit of a treat there. So yeah, this beer is incredibly hazy actually. So just to let you see the colour of this one, I would describe that as a very dark kind of mahogany colour. You can see there's just a very, very thin foamy layer on top of this one. It's a sort of ivory colour, to be honest with you. But this beer is ridiculously, ridiculously hazy. If you put the light through it, there is a bit of a kind of lighter mahogany coloured edge to it. But yeah, this one, I don't think I've ever come across a Flanders Red Ale that is quite as hazy as this one. I did not expect that from it, I have to say. There's one or two big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass. There's a few little ones going up towards the bottom of the head there. But you know, overall, it does look pretty nice and pretty much what you would expect from a Flanders Red Ale, other than the fact that it's hazy. But you know, some of you guys might say there are quite a few of them that are hazy. But yeah, let's have a little look at this one then in the aroma and see how we get on. But yeah, as I say, in terms of colour and things, that lovely sort of reddish tinted mahogany, dark copper I guess you could say as well. The colour of this one is pretty much what you would expect for this particular style of beer. So yeah, let's have a look at that aroma and see how we get on. Ooh, that does smell really nice. So yeah, what I'll say about this one is, the backbone of this one is really it comes across as very woody, and you know, these beers are aged in fodders and barrels and all these kind of things, so you'll get a lovely kind of smooth oaky quality out of it. You get that right away with this one, that lovely smooth oak and just a little hint of that kind of vanilla-y quality that you get with the oak as well. But to me, it leans towards the more kind of woody side of things, but I think there's a bit of a, I do get a bit of a leathery note out of this one. But again, I find the leather to be a bit more of a subtlety. I think it's the oaky woodiness that's coming out of this one, sort of dominating it, if you like, in the backbone. But yeah, there's a nice little bit of a kind of that Werther's Originally type brown sugar. You do get a little bit of that in mixing in with the woody aromas out of the beer as well. So that's really interesting with this one. Definitely strikes me though as one of the woodier Flanders Reds that I've come across in recent times. It's definitely not the sweetest. Definitely more leaning, yeah, I think towards that woody kind of thing. But yeah, like I said to you in the Handbryggerie one was, it smelled very, very sour actually, but it really had quite a leathery sort of thing going on and some dryness to the wood, which was nice. But yeah, the aroma of this one I think is definitely leaning towards that woody side of things. As I say, you've got a little bit of that kind of Werther's Originally, almost kind of brown sugary butterscotchy kind of thing coming out of it. You've got a little bit of the kind of vanilla type notes that you'll get from the oak, and you've got a lovely kind of, there is a very slight graininess to this one as well, and that's just the kind of malty, smooth, sweet side of things that we've talked about with this beer. So yeah, the aroma of this one I think is very, very nice. I like how this goes together. Yeah, I do like how this beer, how everything kind of fits together in this one. The aroma gets a big thumbs up from me. As I say, a few leathery notes coming out of this one as well. I think the more and more that you smell of it, I think it gets a little touch more earthy, to be honest with you. So on the hoppy side of things, you do get a little bit of a light earthiness to it. There's a wee bit of a herbal character in there as well. You do pick up a wee bit of grassiness out of it as well. I mean, I think usually when it comes to these sort of sour beers, they'll add old hops to them. Sometimes it can be you know, old Belgian hops, which are a bit of a cross between English hops that are more earthy and herbal, and you know, they can have a bit of the brighter grassiness and floral characters of the German hops, but quite often I think, at least from what Davor told me, it tends to be old noble hops that they put in them. I'm not sure whether that would be an old Northern Brewer, because Northern Brewer would contribute to the fruitiness. It's a very popular hop to use in Doppelbocks and things, but yeah, it does have a little bit of that kind of, as I say, brighter German noble grassiness to it. You really do get a bit of that at the kind of front of the nose. But yeah, the thing that's dominating this beer, of course, on the fruity side of things is the cherries. You know, yeah, the cherries that come out of this, they come across as very juicy. I don't find them overly sharp and overly sour, if you like. Behind the cherries you have got a little bit of a juicier plummy quality. You can pick out a little bit of a juicy fig, and there's only kind of minimal sort of blackberry, blackcurranty notes coming out of this one. So the fruity side of this beer for me is really interesting. To me, the more and more that I smell of this beer, it's a kind of less pungent Flanders Red, I think. So definitely leaning towards the woodier side of things. Lovely little bit of kind of hoppy character to it as well, I think. And then it's got a lovely juiciness to the fruity side of it as well. So very kind of interesting aroma coming out of this one, I have to say. And that's what I love about these beer styles, is these different kind of releases or interpretations of these beer styles, is you always get these little nuances and things like that from brewery to brewery. So yeah, take a little bit of time and enjoy the aroma of this one before you get stuck into it. But we're going to have a taste of this now and see how we go on. A lovely smelling Flanders Red Ale, this one. As I say, the curious thing about it for me was the haze coming out of the beer. But yeah, this one is La Luna Rossa, the Red Moon, coming in at 8% ABV, a Flanders Red Ale with cherries from Birrificio Del Ducato in Roncole, Verdi or Soragna in Parma in Italy, about halfway between Bologna and Milano. Let's get stuck into this one. Slange, skål, salute. Ooh, jeez, yeah. Those cherries when they come in, oh man. Right, it almost, like when I took that in, it was like the cherries, they almost just shot right across the kind of sides of my tongue there. They went, phew. That was crazy. Oh, that was a bit puckering. That's a hell of an impact off this one. It just shot across the middle of my palate. The thing is, I've always said to you with these sour beers is, you need to be prepared for a bit of an almost kind of rude awakening with these sour beers. These are ones that these are beers that you really have to kind of let open up and let your palate adjust to before you can kind of fully appreciate them, to be honest. Yeah, second sip of this one is a lot more sort of palatable, if you like, but there is still a hell of a lot of tartness coming out of this one. I like how that goes together. But yeah, it's still this is definitely one of the kind of really kind of more puckering Flanders Reds that I've come across. I mean, I thought that the hand back was really quite puckering, to be honest, but this one tops that. I think the impact you get out of this, that is one hell of a kick in the balls or the ovaries, whatever you happen to have. Damn, that's a beast. Yeah, my palate's still adjusting to that. That's craziness. So yeah, the cherries on this, they have a hell of a lot of tartness to them. It does say on the label, of course, that they've added normal cherries. It says Sura Schursbär, all Schursbär. So they've added normal cherries and soured cherries. I don't know if that would be macerated cherries, where they put it into that kind of thing and just sort of, they put the cherries in and then they let it kind of sour naturally. I would suspect that maybe that's what they've done with this one. That is mental, that is crazy. Yeah, I do like how this goes together. It does take a wee bit of time to adjust to this one, like I said. So yeah, the thing you're going to notice about this beer, the sourness of the cherries, the sheer sourness and puckering tartness that comes out of this beer is a bit, it is a little bit almost overwhelming, to be quite honest with you. That's one of the, I think that might well be one of the sourest beers that I've come across, actually. Just a beast. But yeah, let's try and break this flavour down a little bit then and describe it a bit better for you. So yeah, this beer, as I say, is absolutely dominated by that sour kind of cherry quality. The cherries come in on the front kind of tip of your palate. They sit there and then they shoot up to towards the back of the tongue there, and they really linger. The sourness of the cherries really lingers there on the edge of your palate. What you'll notice with this one, in the middle third of your tongue and the back third of your tongue, you have that lovely kind of smooth oaky quality coming out of the beer, and that spreads towards the back third of your tongue there. On top of that, in the middle kind of third of your palate, you do have a little bit of that slightly, almost slightly all Werther's originally type flavour coming out of it. If you move towards the front of that kind of middle third of your tongue, you will get a little bit of a slight vanilla quality coming out of the beer as well. So yeah, you will feel that kind of sweetness developing out of this one. It's not overly sweet, like it's not sweet, but you do get just a little touch of a kind of smooth sweetness out of it, if that makes sense. And yeah, it's nice to see how those flavours kind of develop out of it. If you go to the centre of your palate as well and then just move forward, you will notice a few kind of nutty undertones to this beer as well. Towards the back third of the palate, as I say, you get the woodiness there, and this woody smoothness just kind of lingers back there. You start to get more of the leatheriness. If you think about the kind of front half of the tongue, if you go to the back half of the tongue, I think the beer gets gradually a little bit more leathery as you go towards the back of the palate there. But as I say, on the edges of the tongue here, in the back corners of the palate, you've got a really sharp, really tart cherry note coming out of it. That's, I mean, it's not what you'd quite expect. The cherries linger. They linger a lot into the aftertaste with this one, so that's an interesting point about this beer. Because as I've said before, the thing for me that makes a good sour beer, you expect these to come in and give you a wee kick in the balls or the ovaries, and then you expect them to kind of mellow out a little bit, become a little bit more juicy and a little bit sweeter. This one, the sourness really lingers in this. Repeated that a few times, but it does. Can't emphasise that enough, to be honest with you. But yeah, the as I say, back half of your tongue is a little bit more leathery. The kind of smooth woodiness is underneath. Middle kind of third of your palate, as I say, the woodiness forms the base. You've got a little bit of nuttiness there towards the front of that middle third of your tongue. A little bit of almost vanilla type quality in there, and then the sort of Werther's originally type kind of oily, slightly brown sugary thing in there as well. But yeah, I really like how that comes out in this one. So yeah. But yeah, definitely enjoy how that how this one pieces together. In terms of the kind of aftertaste with this one, as I say, the sourness really lingers at the back of the palate, but it does juicen up a little bit towards the kind of the front of the tongue, if you like. I think we have kind of talked about it as all we've said all we really need to about the kind of middle and the back, the middle third of your tongue and the back third of your palate. But yeah, on the hoppy side of things, then back corners of the palate, you do get a little bit of an earthiness out of this one. It is a kind of smooth German noble earthiness there. Could well be Italian hops. The Italians do produce their own hops. I can't, I'm not well versed in the different varieties that the Italians do, but they do have their own hops. It could be Italian hops that's in this one, because there is a little bit of difference there. But yeah, you've got a nice little bit of earthiness there. The cherries, you have got a bit of that sour cherry thing kind of sitting on top of it though. But as you move further forward along the side of the tongue, the earthiness kind of smoothens out. It becomes a little touch herbal. As you reach the front corners of the palate, you've got a nice little bit of a floral quality there. But then as you go round the kind of front curve of the palate, it's a little bit lighter and more grassy in my mind as well. But then again, around that front edge of the palate, some of the sourness of the cherries is really lingering there actually. But yeah, on the front third of your tongue, that's where you get the kind of fruitiness out of this beer. So as I said, when you take this beer in, you get that hell of an impact from those cherries there. But when you take it in, and once your mouth kind of adjusts to it a little bit, it does juicen up a little bit. The sourness of the cherries does linger there, but at the back of that front third of the tongue, there is a little bit of a juicy kind of plummy note there that develops. You do get a little bit of a lighter figginess coming forward on the tongue, and there is just a little touch of a a very slight light kind of black curranty kind of flavour coming out of this beer, and that, you know, the figginess and the black curranty flavours are what kind of push their way out into the aftertaste a little bit more. So I mean, I really like how that side of the beer goes together. It does, in fairness, on the aftertaste, the sourness really does dissipate a little bit. It takes a good bit of time, right enough, but the sourness does dissipate, and you start to get a slightly juicier, more oily, fruity character from the hoppy side of the beer in there as well. I wouldn't be surprised if it is Northern Brewer that's in this, because of the way the sort of slightly figgy, black, almost black curranty type flavour that you get out of this one. I mean, it is very, very nice actually. I love how this beer goes together. Yeah, it's one, this is a beer, I was a bit scared when I took this one in that I wasn't going to like it and it wasn't going to mellow out as I was kind of hoping. But yeah, you really have to, you know, I think you really have to let this beer just develop a little bit on the palate a little bit. It's definitely not one of the sweeter Flanders Reds that you're going to come across. It's definitely one of the more kind of leathery, well, it's leather, maybe not leathery leaning. It's got a good bit of leather to it, but the woody character is almost a little bit balanced. It's one of the smoother ones I think you're going to come across, and that's because of the balance between the woody notes and the kind of leathery character that it has. But it's definitely one of the more tart ones that you are going to come across. The sourness you get out of this is, you know, puckering to the extreme in the beginning, and it really lingers, as I say, at the back corners of the palate and on the kind of front corners of the tongue too. So yeah, the way that this one kind of fits together, I think, is very, very nice. But yeah, I like how this. I do like how this goes together. Yeah, that's it. The fruitiness from the hops really develops a little bit in this, and the sourness, as I say, the kind of puckering quality of the sourness just kind of fades away a little bit more the further you go into the aftertaste. But yeah, I like how this one mellows out, but it takes a little bit of time, definitely. One of the kind of smoother, I would say, it's well balanced between the leathery and the woody notes, as I mentioned, but yeah, definitely one of the kind of smoother Flanders Reds, I think, that you're going to come across. But yeah, let's leave it at that for the tasting side of things. I think we've said all we need to about this one. But in terms of the mouthfeel, definitely quite, I find this one to be at the bottom end of mid-bodied. Of course, sour beers, I always find them a bit lighter. The carbonation, I think, is quite smooth on this one. The mouthfeel overall is quite oily. In terms of IBUs, I think you'd be lucky to get about 15-ish IBUs out of this one at most. The middle of your palate, as I say, is very, very smooth. There is a slight degree of sweetness to it. You've got a little bit of an oily, fruity character from the hoppy side of it as well. But as I say, the thing that dominates is that kind of sour cherry note that this beer has. Definitely one of the more sour Flanders Reds I think you're going to come across. And that will give you a kick in the balls or the ovaries or whatever you happen to have. But yeah, a thumbs up for Birrificio Del Ducato on this one. Definitely one, I have to give them credit for that, giving me one of the sourest beers I think I've reviewed for you on the channel. This one has a hell of a kick to it. But yeah, let's leave it at that for this one. This one was La Luna Rossa, an 8% Flanders Red Ale with sour cherries added to the brew from Birrificio Del Ducato in Roncole, Verdi, and Soragna in Parma County in northern Italy, about halfway between Bologna, as I said, and Milano. So yeah, definitely need to go and try and visit this brewery at some point. I'd love to review more Italian beers, as I said. So yeah, definitely cool to have this one for you here on the channel. But thank you again for watching my beer reviews. Until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Let me know your own thoughts on this beer in the comment section below. Let me know what your favourite beers are from Birrificio Del Ducato. We will no doubt return to these guys at some point soon. And as I said, if any of you are willing to be my Italian beer mule, I send you some money, you organise a box of beer for me. Do get in touch through the Facebook and Instagram, or if you can recommend an Italian web shop to order beer from, that would be awesome. Actually, I would love to get some more Italian beers up here to Sweden. But thank you again for watching. Check out my social media, check out Birrificio Del Ducato, and we'll see what other Italian beers we can get over the next little while. Until the next time, slàinte just now, and I'll catch you guys later. Slàinte, skål, salute, cheers.